So the first question for you, Rick, is what are some of the specific things you do each day to grow your business?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, first of all, I just give thanks for Globe Life and American Income Life. You know, I think a lot of you newer people don't know Bernard Rappaport. We were all very concerned when he sold the company to Torchmark, which is now Globe Life, and we said, why did you pick them? And he goes, you know what, Rick? They're going to be able to do things for you and your business that American Income will never be able to do for you. And you guys, when I witnessed yesterday what you guys put together and Globe Life, but with their admin team, the lead team, just every single thing that we have, you guys, Bernard Rappaport was right. These guys have done things for us that nobody else could really do. So what do I do every morning? I just know our future's better. When you're with a company like Globe Life, you don't have to think about the future. When you're with Bernard Rappaport, you kind of had to think about the future, especially if you get fired regularly at meetings. And I was at a meeting like this one time, and I got thrown off the stage by my caller. Jim Surace, I think, was probably there. Eric was there. But so you guys, there's only a few ways to grow our business. I think you all know. Number of agents, closing ratio, ALP per sale. That's pretty, number of presentations. Those four things, pretty much, except for agents, we didn't talk about any of those things at this meeting so far. But if you want to grow your business, those are the four things you have to think about. Number of presentations, ALP per sale, number of agents, closing ratio. So I wake up every day and just concentrate on those four things. I can keep talking, I don't want to take.
No, great answer. Thanks, Rick. Tiny, how do you keep your fingers on the pulse with the culture and chemistry of the agency? And how important is culture to growth? And what are some of the things you feel like are critical in building and maintaining a great one?
It's a long question.
Yeah.
No problem.
So,
That's why I put S.
so I think it starts with, first of all, your level of involvement with your people. And I think that as business owners, sometimes it's really easy to create an ego for yourself and want to be the owner, want to be the CEO, and kind of look down on your people. But we work in a type of industry so where we got to be at ground level with our people 24/7, 365. So I think when you ask yourself, what is your level of involvement with your people and what sort of communication do you have with your people, that kind of opens up all the lines and start to create a culture. And when we talk about what makes your culture special, I think the first thing you got to I think the first thing you have to do is kind of re-engineer the process and look at, first of all, what's broken with your culture. And when you look at what's broken with most cultures, what I look at is like old, slow, boring, stale. Those are like the four main things I look at when cultures are broken or slow. And I think a couple things that we did that I'm trying to work on to create our culture to make it better is the first thing is we got to remove something called hurry up and wait. When I was in the military, the biggest thing that people hated was this hurry up and wait process, and I think a lot of SGAs and business owners have this now. Let me explain what hurry up and wait is. Get the course done, memorize a script, get everything done as fast as possible, and start in our agency. Well, what happens is I think that a lot of times when people come into the business, if they don't have things structured the right way, they get everything so rushed to get done, then they start and everything gets slow. They're slow to get coded, they're slow to get trained, they're slow to get in the training class. So people's ideology of what we do, it slows down to a ground level and it starts to become demotivating. So we gotta learn how to work fast for our people. It's Marcus 101 is move quick and try to get things done as quick as possible. So get rid of the old, slow, and hurry up and wait process. And I think the other thing is when people don't have direction, when people don't have vision, we don't share with people where you wanna go, it enables them not to think big for themselves. And I think that as business owners, oftentimes it's really easy to make the culture or the business about yourself, your income, your finances, your renewals. And when I became an SGA, I heard a lot of business owners talking about that. They talk about the renewals and the percentages and what it can do for your family. And personally, I think that's the wrong way to think. And I know that the income that we make and the renewals that we get is a byproduct of the services that we provide and the leadership that we grow. So I think that to create a culture, you got to make it about your people. You got to make it about promotions. You have to duplicate yourself. I remember one of the most motivating videos I've ever seen, and was Simon Arias talks about it's not about being a millionaire, it's about how many millionaires he can create. And that's the ideology that we try to have in Surace Smith Park Savage. And I'm so thankful that Jim and Marcus taught this to me. And we kind of have this people-first culture. So I think that's how we kind of create our culture.
That's what Dustin does.
Excellent.
Yeah, Dustin does too. Yep.
Shout out.
Excellent answer.
Yeah.
Tommy,
Website. Hey,
how you doing? In your opinion, what are the 3 most important things that you do that drive consistent growth?
well, first of all, I had written down hires because your agency's not going to grow without hires. And there's 3 things. You got outside sources, your in-house recruiting, and personal recruiting. It's right on our recruiting workbook we have to report every single week. And managers are calling. Each manager is responsible for making phone calls and getting better with recruiting. If we teach our managers to delegate, then we're not teaching them how to become great leaders, because to climb the mountain of leadership in this company, you got to have skills to climb that mountain. And you wouldn't teach somebody how to dribble a basketball if you wanted them to climb a mountain, right? And you want to teach them the proper skills to climb the mountain of leadership here, which is recruiting. So we teach them recruiting. We're doing recruiting training with them, teach them how to make phone calls, setting systems up for themselves, and becoming the best recruiters in the agency, which is through experience. Second thing, we're looking at is codes. After you get hires, you get codes, and we're trying to cut down on the hire to code ratio. So if you wanted to double your hires, you'd have to double the amount of time that you'd be investing into getting those hires. You would have to double the amount of money that you're investing into getting those hires. And that's how you would typically double your codes. If you want to double your codes, you need to double your hires, right? That's if you're operating at a 1 out of 4 hire to code ratio. But if you can cut your hire to code ratio from 4 to 1 to 2 to 1, you don't have to increase your hires at all. So instead of taking all that time, energy, and effort that you would put to increase and double down on your hires, maybe take some of that time, energy, effort, and money and put it into your current pipeline that you already hired, right? So we're doing pipeline meetings and pouring into our pipeline more, trying to cut our hire to code ratio down. And then last thing is leadership development. You want to grow your organization, we all know those are the 3 things to focus on and develop. So we developed an FBLA, which is the future business leaders of our agency, and we meet with them weekly. We're teaching them the 21 laws every single week. Everybody goes through and they get to say what they learned about it, and then I give them about 10 minutes of AIL knowledge on a weekly basis. We're selling the MGA/RGA contract, and then putting people on the meal plan. So you guys know, like, a meal plan is you got to put, if you put the right things in, you're going to get the right results. So the meal plan here is not for food, but if you follow this plan, then you're going to make a meal, man. So we're going to put them on a meal plan. And basically, it takes you 2 years to become an MGA in this plan. So if it takes you 2 years to become an MGA, then after your 3rd year, you promote your 1st MGA. After your 4th year, you promote your 2nd MGA. After your 5th year, promote your 3rd MGA. After your 6th year, promote your 4th. And after your 7th year, you promote 5 MGAs. If you have 5 MGAs, each MGA is doing $20,000 a week, then your RGA deal is doing $100,000 a week. You should make a good 15% on that. So you're making $15,000 a week off your RGA deal, plus you're running your own MGA deal, making a good $3,000, $4,000 a week there. Plus you've been in the business for 7 years, so now your renewals are probably $8,000 a month, which is at least $2,000 a week. So now you're making $21,000 a week.
Come on!
That's only been 7 years in the game.
Vena.
So you put them on a 7-year meal plan. After 7 years, you should be making a meal, man.
I love that.
Making a meal, man.
I love that.
That's really good. That's why you're up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
You know what, though? What's brilliant about what Tommy's doing, he's casting vision. He's
Yeah.
letting them know where they're going to be. And Tommy, you spoke at a meeting, a couple meetings ago, and it was a very similar thing, where you're talking about giving them this vision, creating this pathway, because you got to find out first what they want and then what they're willing to give up, and they got to know what's in it for them. And so, a little stroke of brilliance there, selling the deal.
That was really good.
I did that
Selling
after
and
4
reselling.
years.
Yep.
So I know I could get someone there after 7.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I close it down.
How nice is it, too, when you can point to people in your deal, man, that you've helped do that?
Yeah.
Right? Rick,
Yes.
are leads important for growth?
Are leads important?
Are
for
leads
growth?
important for growth?
So we make our people think they're really important.
Okay.
Leads are really important. These are the best leads of anyone in the insurance industry. But one of the things I see when I actually help other SGAs, or like we start talking about it, they don't have a lead strategy for every single lead. And so you want to go back, and no matter what leads you have, every single lead should have a presentation, a strategy where that agent really believes they're going to sell that lead. And that belief starts with, we always have the managers train the agents on that agent's new lead pack. It's like one little secret. If you guys go start doing this, it makes a huge difference, because all the referrals they pick up, and sometimes the new agent goes, well, you're getting all my sales, you know. But you always train the new agents on that new agent's lead pack, not on the manager's lead pack, but on that. And then all of a sudden you find out if they're good leads or not, right?
That's right.
But it's just super, super important that you make leads, because the referral, once they believe in the lead, then they believe in the referrals. And it's the exact same thing. So just give you an example. Say it's the Child Safe, which you made all your money on Child Safe. Well, now they're just talking, when they get referrals, they're talking to other people that have children. That's all. It's not a referral. It's other people that have children. It's not a referral presentation. It's other people that have children.
Right.
So they already believe that they can sell the Child Safe. So if you can sell that, can you sell other people with children? You do the exact same thing. It's not called a referral. It's other people with children. Anyway, so we spend a lot of time. Every single lead in their lead pack has a strategy.
Excellent. Mark, how is recruiting managed, and what is done to keep it consistent?
You guys got me sitting up next to the rhyme masters up here. I don't have any rhymes. But I love this question, and I'll tell you, I think one of the craziest statistics that I learned when I became an SGA is recruiting is all backwards in our business. And what I mean by that is my very first SGA meeting, I believe we were in Mexico, they were giving the stats of recruiting. And the best recruiters in the company were SAs. The second best recruiters in the company were GAs. The third best recruiters in the companies were MGAs, RGAs, and the last place recruiters were the SGAs. So when I found this stat out, it absolutely blew my mind, because the best recruiters should be us. The best recruiters should be coming from the top of the SGAs, the MGAs, and the RGAs. So when I found the statistic out, it's kind of alarming to me of what we're not getting a lot of new blood in the deal, and the recruits that we are being brought in are probably from recruiting services or third-party companies that don't have something called attention to detail. They don't know exactly who you are. They don't know exactly what you do. They're not about your culture. There's somebody that maybe is looking for a better opportunity. If you just simply find better people, and if you invest your time with the right people, the growth kind of takes care of itself. So the way that I've been managing recruiting, and I took it over about, 2 months ago, guys, is previously to that, we just let our MGAs and RGAs handle it. And we just kind of trusted in them that they would recruit, and if they didn't get results, they're going to handle all the accountability and all those different things. And I kind of took it over, and the first thing that I asked for is, let me see your pipelines. Let me see your bloodline. Who do you currently have right now in your business, starting with the RGAs and the MGAs? Then what happens is you take that, and you ask them what their vision is, what their goals are, where they want to go, what type of house they want to live in, what type of car they want to drive. What do they want to do for their mom, their dad, their family? And what they realize is that what they currently have in front of them is not going to take them to their destination. So what happens is every single week we have a reoccurring recruiting meeting that I've run individual, each RGA team, an MGA team individually. Each meeting is about 20 to 30 minutes. And I talk about what happened last week and what are the results. I help them, I coach them, I guide them. I also hold them accountable. And what I've found is that when people have a little bit of accountability and you make it about them, and their vision, and their family, and their paycheck, and their growth, what you'll find is that they're a lot more in tune, a lot more motivated to go in and recruit. Since we've been doing that, we've had record weeks and record months of recruiting, and I'll tell you, it all stems from this attention to detail, being involved, being at ground level, and asking questions.
Great answer. Here we are back to setting expectations, checking in with people, having some accountability.
Yes, sir.
You just naturally do a lot more.
Yes, sir.
So what I love about what you said, and I want to say this for the little guys in the room, it's super important if you're a newer, smaller SGA, that the only way to recruit, you have to invest one of two things, time or money, right? That's all you have. So what I've seen where a lot of smaller guys get stuck is they try to do all the recruiting, either all the time or money, whichever one, right? And then when it's time to scale their business, they can't scale their business because it's always, they're running into the wall. So what Mark's saying is each MGA, RGA team is responsible for the recruiting. Your job is the oversight in it.
Correct.
It's not to say that if you're doing a little extra recruiting on the side or say something like that's not bad. I used to do that, and I would give the people that I hired to the best field trainers. And I would make sure everybody knew, oh, I would give somebody you, but you don't keep nobody. So I don't hate them. They're actually nice people. I'm going to try to get them with somebody who will save them.
Yeah.
Really just trying to encourage, like good field training and support, and it works. But at the end of the day, all 15 of my guys had their recruiting going on. That's your job, that is like at your level to handle that. And you could go to 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 and not run out of a problem. So if you're smaller in the room and you're investing time or money into recruiting, you only have so many hours in a week. And it becomes pretty difficult because now it's your fault when they don't have their hires and their codes instead of helping them become responsible for them themselves. Tommy, what are you doing to grow your agency from a recruiting standpoint right now? By the way, I do want to make this comment about Tommy because I think it's a really good, Tommy signed his MGA contract. We said, SGA contract. Congratulations, you have your contract. And by the way, 30 days later, there's a global pandemic that kicks off. And so it's a very interesting thing. Dan, when you were talking earlier about, you just don't quit. I have to be honest with you. I just had a lot of confidence that Tommy was going to figure it out. I just, you know what I mean? Everybody would say, despite this and that and everything else, I never worried about you for a second. And, that all happened right in that moment and what you've been able to do and I know you're not where you want to be, but what you've already been able to establish in the foundation, the agency that you've laid out to really build a big house now, is pretty impressive to do it at that point in time. A lot of us had a nice little business head start or running head start into the storm. We had a little momentum behind us. You try to get the deal off the ground right your timing couldn't have been worse.
I know.
Congratulations. So what are you doing in recruiting?
Well, yeah. First of all, I definitely was a lot more confident knowing that I had, the help from home office and everybody in this room, obviously, and knew we would figure that out together. So wasn't really any doubt in my mind about that. But from a recruiting standpoint, it's set it and forget it. I don't know if you guys ever saw back in the day, they had an infomercial, and this dude would sell these cooking things like they were hotcakes, man. Yeah. He would get on stage, and everybody would get all excited, and it was one of the greatest cooking inventions ever. You literally took a piece of chicken, and you stuck it in there, and you pushed a button, you set it, and then you literally forgot about it. You set it and forget it, right? And it would cook the best chicken ever. Yeah. And he would say, set it, and everybody in the crowd would scream, forget it, right? And I was thinking to myself, how could somebody mess that up? You calls your buddy, and they're like, hey, go stick the chicken in the cooking machine, just set it and forget it. You come home, and he messed it up. Yeah. How could he mess it up?
Yeah, mess it up.
It's so simple. The only way you could mess that up is if you overcomplicate it. He must have overcomplicated it, right? And that's what recruiting is. It's simple. And the only way we mess it up is if we overcomplicate it. Yep. So I figure out how many interviews set does it take for us to get a hire, right? And then we focus on getting those interviews set, and then you forget it. Set it and forget about it.
Love it.
Love
it.
And then,
Tommy's on fire today. Tommy's on fire.
Go.
Come on, you guys know it, stick it in there, you just set it and
forget it.
Set it and
forget it.
Yeah, let's sell some life insurance.
All right.
We're changing the theme to that.
Yeah. Forget it.
Set it and forget it.
So here's where here's where the panel takes a twist.
Stop. What's it called?
We've never done this in the history of panels. So what we have now is each of you have one last question, and we have a clock right there. You got 30 seconds to get to the answer.
30 seconds.
But I want to make sure we can ask you each one more.
I can give up my time to...
No, I want you to answer your question, Rick. So Rick, here's your 30-second question. What are the numbers or reports that you look at to get growth?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I never look at any reports. That's your director's job, right? Don't ever do
Your
that.
question.
And
That was your question.
they're supposed to tell you how bad you're doing. You're not supposed to tell yourself that.
Thanks, Rick.
But the second part of it, though, I want to think about this. This is good for 30 seconds. If your boss is ever mad at you, you're not giving them what they want. If your boss is ever mad at you, you're not giving them what they want. You don't have to smoke a cigar with Steve. Steve even tells me, it's true, Steve?
Yep.
By the way, do you have a suit on? No,
Yeah.
I know, I was just wondering, because a lot of guys keep texting me and asking. But they dared me to say that.
If
so.
your boss is mad at you, throw him under the bus on stage.
No, look how good no, it's pretty good that he looks, Steve, it looks like you look so good, right?
Thank you.
You couldn't wear any
None of my suits fit. I already covered
Always
that.
covering it up.
But you guys, seriously, if your boss is mad at you, you're not giving him that's all you gotta do here. Steve even tells me, he goes, Rick, do you know how many people in this company don't like you? And I'm like, okay, sorry. I try to be nice to everybody.
I'm your only friend.
But it's because it's all you got to do is give Globe and American Income what they want. So you just got to figure out what it is that they want and give it to them. You don't have to read reports.
One word.
You just got to give them what they want.
Tell them what we
They
want,
want
Rick.
growth. That's all they want is
Growth.
growth. That's it. And if you can't figure it out, call one of us and we'll help you with it. Is that?
Great answer. And I don't remember telling you that nobody likes you.
No, you said there's a lot of people that don't.
Right. And I said I was your only friend.
You said you're one of my only friends.
All right.
30
Steve
seconds.
and I have this. He can't joke the way he used to.
No, I talk to Rick 3 times a week, so we cover a lot.
30 seconds.
All right, Savaji,
3 times a week.
how important is building relationships and connecting with leaders?
I think it's everything. And I'll tell you, there's a quote I told myself years ago that the moment that this opportunity felt like a job was the day that I would lose motivation. And I think that the reason why this always felt like an opportunity to me is because of the relationships that I had and the people that were paving the way that made it be known that certain things are possible in this organization. So I think that having the right relationships is the foundation of this stuff. And just so we're all aware, the right foundation isn't being easy on people or holding them accountable. The right relationship and foundation is to know who you should coach and who you shouldn't, and how you should coach people individually. So I think just knowing your people and knowing your audience and knowing what motivates them and kind of not being afraid to roll your sleeves up and get your hands dirty, and I think that's the core foundation of that.
Awesome. Last question, 30 seconds, Tommy. What changes have you made in the last 6 to 12 months that you feel are having the greatest impact on your growth?
I think we've been focusing on our ABCs a little bit more. So here's what I mean by that. ABC is you can always be calling, right? And that's what agents are doing. They could always be calling. But if you're a closer, you don't want to be calling. What do you want to be doing?
Always be
Closing. So we got to take them from always be calling to always be closing, right? So we got to get them off the phones and get them in front of the homes more, right? So some of our best people, they're implementing callers. Callers pay for themselves. If you have a caller work 20 hours and they call for 20 hours, they should get you 20 appointments set. How much ALP does 20 appointments get you? 2,000 ALP, right? So what's $2,000? 2,000 ALP makes an agent $1,100. They paid the caller $15 an hour, so it cost them $300. They're net $800+ for the week on that. So that pays for itself on that. So ABC, but then when you get into management, what I've started doing a lot more is keeping the numbers in front of the managers and forcing the managers to ABCs with an S. So ABCS means always be coaching sales.
That's good.
And every day they got to coach their sales. They need to know the numbers on how many sits their team gave yesterday, how many sits is Susie at, how many appointments is Johnny at for the week, how many phone calls is they at, what's their set to call ratio. They need to know all those ratios because you can't coach sales and you can't always be coaching sales if you disconnect from the numbers. And a lot of times you disconnect from the numbers when you don't like the numbers too much.
Good job, man.
So we got to keep them in front of them.
Great job.